What's up, everyone, and welcome to Clear Talk. We are not at the fire pit. It's way too damn hot over there. Um, it's like way over there, that back corner. I'm over here at the um, spot that used to be my great grandmother's house. We recently tore it down, which is going to be on theme here briefly in a moment. I'm just little by little showing you all kinds of spots around my place here. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the Great America State Fair. All right, and how it is, well, how it's turned out to be quite lackluster. And it's just another kind of jab, kind of another example of what is ultimately being the tearing down of America. I told you I was going to pin it in somewhere. Thank you very much for joining me here. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, there's links in the description to check out this channel, all my other channels as well. And if you would like to, if you like what you see, subscribe, like, share, comment, all the good stuff. You know, it's free for you, helps out the channel tremendously. If you would like to do a little bit more than that, there's merch. I have merch for every single channel. There's a link there. If you would like to go to Patreon, I have Patreon, $2. You can support any of the channels you would like and get a discount on the merch. So, and amongst other things. So that's a lot of stuff there. You can, all that's in the description down below. So check all that out. And if you're, so any support you give is very much appreciated, okay? And I thank you very, very much. And if you're returning, you're freaking amazing. You are amazing. And keep coming back. So, the Great America State Fair. This was supposed to be a celebration of the 250th anniversary of America, right? This originally was under the America 250 committee. And originally, and this was supposed to be worked on for like almost a decade now. And they had all these huge plans. It was supposed to be like a 30-day festival. I think the theme of it was like the festival of all festivals. And they were going to have all kinds of like festivals for 30 days and from all kinds of the likes and nooks and crannies of the United States. All right, all cultural things, representative of all. Like it was supposed to be massive. All kinds of rides, all kinds of musical acts, and art, and I mean just all kinds of stuff. It was supposed to be massive in America 250, and they were trying to they've been working on this for a long time. And then the Trump administration gets in there, and everything goes to shit. For starters, they were making it hard, or having trouble, or just right out weren't giving permits for event organizers and stuff to be set up and get ready, and it was just a whole thing. Then the funding seemed to have either disappeared or got put somewhere else. It was just, there was multiple things that happened that ultimately, and then this whole Freedom 250 that the Trump administration created for their own celebrations around what they wanted to make as the 250th commemorative kind of things. And they've got a whole website. You can go to the Freedom 250 website, and they've got all these different celebrations that they have put on, that's based around their like perspective of patriotism and the history of America. I mean, you've seen all the videos that they've laid out on X and Truth and stuff for the quote-unquote American history. And then there's even like a founders page that is made up of just a bunch of fucking AI photos of the quote-unquote founders of America. From like the literal founding fathers, people that signed the Declaration of Independence and all that shit, to like early on contributors to America or whatever, but it's literally a bunch of just AI photos, half of which it's like the AI was limited to certain faces, and it gave the same faces to multiple people. It is crazy. It is a silly ass page. Anyway, go check that out if you will. But the Trump administration decided to add this Great America Fair to the Freedom to 50 plans and organization, and so that wound up just completely cutting out a lot of the. They just canceled it and did away with a lot of the event planning that had been done for years on this event. And then you turned around and had musical guests and other stuff back out. You've had states back out. There were 11 states that opted out of sending representatives for this fair. If I can remember them correctly, okay, it is Connecticut, Illinois, Maine, Massachusetts, North Carolina, Rhode Island, and Vermont and Washington. I know those. I don't think that's all 11, but those are the ones that have been shared amongst people that have reported on this. Those states, at least, there's supposed to be upwards of 11 of them that completely opted out. But the administration has stated that all 50 states are represented in this fair. But they're represented by the actual sponsorship of the state, or from like independent groups and activist groups, or like I'm sure patriotic groups and stuff, individuals that try to set up representations for their state. One of which, of course, North Carolina, there was a like individual or group that set up a tent that was supposed to represent North Carolina, and that caused controversy because there was a Confederate flag found displayed in that tent that wound up having to be removed. And so that is one controversy that has happened. This is, you've had controversy and issues around, again, musical acts pulling out because they didn't want to be a part of it, didn't want to be representative, because it was looking more and more to be turned into a political stunt, a politicized event. Where Trump was trying to make himself the center of attention, and all the things that he's done, all the things that their administration is trying to make out as being American history, and like, you know, all the things that they just wanted to point out as American history. It has just been, it's turned into a shit show of biased, politicized representation, basically, of America. And it's upset a lot of people, and understandably so. You have, Trump has decided to have his own musical acts in there, which is like the green, what's his name, the America guy, whatever. Anyways, he's an act. There's, I think, a couple other acts that he wound up being able to pull in. Even Kash Patel's wife, she was a last-minute ad as a performer, a musical performer. That's how low this has gotten. That the FBI director girlfriend was added to the roster as a performer. That she's not even. Anyways, we're gonna just look over that though. But that's how sad and pathetic this has become. But not only just the condition of the actual fair itself, where you'll have like a Ferris wheel that's all of like the rides, the only ride there, from what I can tell. You have booths and stuff set up, tents and stuff set up. One other controversial thing that I saw, in my opinion, was a worship tent that was being shown. Stage live performances of worship music. The video that I saw was a guy just sitting there going like, uh, uh, like something like worship or something. Like he was just saying the word over and over and over again. It was so cliche of a gospel, especially white gospel music. But what was controversial was that there was, in my opinion, this is an American celebration, right? It's supposed to be about America, the American flag, patriotism, America first kind of thing. And while, yes, above the stage there was an American flag. There's an American flag displayed right above the stage, right to, like, on the video is to the left of, like, the speaker system that was up above. It was an American flag. But on the other side of the speaker system, or I'm guessing it was a speaker system, was an Israeli flag. You heard that right. The flag of Israel displayed with the American flag at an American celebration. If that isn't a tell-all about this administration, about what's going on in our government in America right now, I don't know what is. Like that, for it to be okay to display, I mean, that even should piss off people that support the Confederate flag. Like, it's okay to display the flag of Israel, but not the Confederate flag. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can't stand the Confederate flag, and that to me is distasteful and racist and everything else. But like, this is an America celebration, and you are posting up displaying a flag of Israel. Okay, let me move on. That wasn't the only thing though. Behind all the seating, which wasn't that much, let's be honest, it wasn't all the seating, was a baptism booth, a baptism pool in the tent. It's already a problem. We've just saw the other day the Religious Freedom Committee or whatever making a big deal about how we're not going to allow the separation of church and state to be argued as constitutional because it wasn't in the Constitution. So you can't make that argument when we're talking about religious freedom. When quite literally the article, the writing that Jefferson placed those words in was him using those words to represent the First Amendment. Like that, he literally called it, like you said in the video the other day, the wall of separation of church and state. That was what the First Amendment, that's what how he was representing it. Because that's what the First Amendment for him partly was supposed to mean. That's the reason why people use that phrase like that, because it's just an easy way of explaining that portion of the First Amendment. And yet it's not bad enough that you've got a gospel worship tent there. You could argue that out as like cultural thing, right? I can see you saying, but a part of the culture of America is religion and worship music. Like, you can look at it from an artistic view. I can get that. I'll give you that. But when you start putting baptism booths, pools under the tent as well, now you're pushing doctrine. Now you're pushing a religious practice on people coming through that event. And that, in my opinion, is too far. So I personally find that controversial. I think that should not have been a part of it. So under the same tent, you have doctrine and religious representation in a literal baptism pool. and representation of Israel under the pool, which I can only assume that they probably were trying to play out. Well, this is not just this is Christian and Jews, like America as Christians and Israel as Jews. I'm pretty sure that's what they're trying to say there. That we are a nation of Christians and Israel's a nation of Jews, and so this is encompassing of religious belief. This is religious freedom. Christians and Jews, because that's the only religions that are important and the only religions we're worried about. Because whatever, Jehovah God, whatever. Because we have the same God. Kinda, not really, but who cares? So yeah, that was a problem. So we have this event. Not only is this event controversial, not only has it had problems with planning and organization and states opting out, performers opting out, all of these, what Trump called all of the other performers that got out was a bunch of libtards and woke third-rate performers. What they actually did was pulled out the third-rate performers for this event because they couldn't get anybody that actually, people would give a fuck about. Not only all that, but then we have an attendance problem. We have an attendance problem because people are not showing up. The very first day, opening day, you had the administration state that there was like 45,000 plus people. But there were no pictures or videos or evidence that there were that many people there. Not even close. You had your people that, kind of trolling, acting like, oh yeah, there wasn't but like tens of people, hundreds of people, like that's about it. There have been like outlets that have stated that there was over 1,000, somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000. That's probably more accurate, probably more representative, because I could see over the entirety, because these days are like 10, 12-hour long days that these are open. I think from like 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. most days. Maybe some days are shorter, but like, so anywhere from 10 to 12 hours roughly. I mean, I know 9 to 10 is 13 hours, but I think that's only certain days. So I can see 1,000 people getting through there. That's not hard. But the people are so sparse. Videos, pictures you see, it's just emptiness across the National Mall. It's very weak and lackluster at the very least. And then you've had days of like inclement weather issues, rain, people having to be sent home, events shut down, flooding happening in some of the areas. There's been electrical issues, power going out. I think that would even happen in the first or second day. Power was going out. The Ferris wheel wasn't working. Ice cream melted at the ice cream stands and stuff because there wasn't any power for like hours apparently. There's been a lot of problems around the whole this whole thing, and it's caused attendance issues outside of just people not coming. And now there's a very good chance that the 4th of July will have a pretty good makeup of people. That event, I think, is only like 2 or 4 hours, something like that, for that day. It's the shortest day from what I could tell. There's 16 days. I didn't state that yet. There's 16 days for this event. It was going to be a major 30-day Festival of All Festivals event that's now a 16-day Trump rally. And I feel like this is because people just are not feeling like celebrating America right now. This administration has caused so much havoc, so much chaos, has not followed through with things that they claimed that they would do. You have so many people that are sitting at home, and they're looking at their grocery bills, they're looking at their gas bills, they're looking at their health care, they're looking at child care, they're looking at their home, the price of their homes, or trying to buy a home, or and everything's just completely unaffordable. They're looking at wars being, added in, and strikes being done against, kidnapping leaders, and bombing boats in the Caribbean, and like all of these stuff, dismantling of agencies, and assistance, and aid being removed, or shrunk, or made harder to get. Even internationally, with U.S. aid, and things not being funded there, causing problems in other countries that eventually could potentially cause problems here. There are all these things happening. Not to mention the question around elections now, with all of the just backwards, Jim Crow-like actions being taken in southern states, and election integrity being questioned now, like genuinely questioned, not the election bullshit that Trump has been trying to state for all these years, but I'm talking about genuine election integrity being questioned right now, with the federal government trying their best to take over elections, trying to take and purge registration polls, rolls, and sending back registration information, for, like, as approval, and states being like, but these people are not dead. They're not, like, these are real people. Why are you eliminating them? Like, questioning what's going on. There's genuine issue here. One of the most sacred things about being an American is the power of our vote, and we're questioning that more than ever right now. There's nothing to celebrate, and I feel like that's the majority of America right now. The sentiment that there's nothing, and that's sad. That's sad. 250 years. This was supposed to be one of the biggest celebrations, if not the largest, most extravagant celebration that America has ever put on. And it has basically been destroyed. Not only quite, potentially even like literally, physically destroyed, but emotionally and mentally, the thought and feelings around being an American right now, and what we are seeing this administration carry out in actions domestically and overseas, is disgraceful and disgusting, and we don't want that to represent us. We're not feeling very represented right now. So what is there to celebrate? We're not feeling protected right now. So what is there to celebrate? Like, maybe less than ever before in history. What is there to celebrate? Because we're quite literally seeing this administration cause the destruction of America. And while some might argue that we've been on a downward spiral maybe for a while, at least to some degree in some areas, especially just the power dynamic maybe. But I would say that we were on a good, domestically, I feel like we were on a good path before 2015. And then ever since, We've been on a falling off a fucking cliff kind of trajectory, domestically, policy, the Supreme Court. I mean, this idea of making America great again is the problem, because America's never been great. We've been working towards greatness, true enough, and we were probably doing that better than ever 10 years ago, before MAGA. But now we're seeing a complete breakdown and destruction of all of the progressive growth that we have had over the decades. There's nothing to celebrate in America right now. And that is sad. That makes me sad. That makes me sad for this nation. And there, you know, I know we've had plenty of anger and frustration and disdain in this country over the past few years, or probably the past decade overall. But right now, it really falls to the core, the soul, the heart of the nation, when on what should have been a pivotal, like, rememberable milestone for this country, celebrating the growth in 250 years of this nation, positive growth, and all of that just basically be destroyed and dismantled over the last 10 years. It's sad. It saddens me. And I think it saddens many. There's nothing to celebrate. I can only hope, that maybe the next milestone, 300, I guess, that hopefully things have turned around by then, if we even still are a nation by then. Although if we are by then, and I more than likely won't see that. Maybe my children will. But if we are, hopefully, and more than likely, if we still exist at that point, then we would have gotten to a better point. And hopefully they can actually have a genuine, happy, celebratory time. Because right now in this nation, that is just not the case. And that's sad. Thank you for joining me. Let me know what you think. And until next time, peace, clear talk. I'm out.